Good morning. I'd like to call our April 4th, 2023 Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. We're going to have an invocation by Reverend Anil Singh from the Trinity United Methodist Church of Jensen Beach, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Tony Sutherland, an Army veteran. Please stand for the invocation and then the pledge. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Let's join together in heart, mind, and spirit. Creator from whom we all arise, author of all life, provider of all sustenance, and source of all that is good and kind and loving, thank you for the blessings of life, liberty, and the inspiration to pursue our happiness in our various ways. As many of us celebrate our holy days this week, we pray that you will lead us to see that what we have in common far outweighs our differences. Remove from our hearts all preconceptions and prejudices and resentments. Instead, fill our hearts with a desire to regard one another as neighbors and treat each other accordingly. Open our eyes that we might see the good in one another, and open our hands that we might join them together in peace. Loving one, even as the world cries out with war, pain, disease, and uncertainty, may we hold on to the vision of life that you have for us as a people, that out of many you have made us one. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would you like to share a little bit of your experiences with us, please? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I was in the Army from 1977 to 1987, mostly stationed in Germany. My job in the Army was about this long. I was what was called 98 Golf, 98 Charlie. It was a electronic warfare, signals intelligence, voice intercept operator, and traffic analyst, Russian linguist.
Can't put that on a business card.
Basically, what I did in the military was cryptological work, determining where Soviet surface-to-surface missiles were stationed and who they were targeting. And then the last 2 years that I was in the military, I developed training programs for the rest of the linguists that were in the Army. So I was stationed about 5 years in Germany, and then I spent 2 years at Fort Devens, Massachusetts, which no longer exists. The bases that I was stationed in Germany no longer exist. So.
Yeah, shrinking.
I'm now here. I've been here in Stuart for about 6 years. As Stacy knows, I am a very avid member of the American Legion here. I'm the adjutant.
So Stacy.
And I also run Emerald V, which is a veterans residence here in Stuart over on Martin Luther. And I have 31 veterans there that I take care of on a daily basis. So.
Well, we appreciate your service then and now. Thank you.
I'm surprised with all that she doesn't travel with a bodyguard.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, Ms. Beaupre.
Good morning.
We have a couple of proclamations this morning. Our first proclamation is Child Abuse Awareness Month. Ms. Beaupre, you are recognized.
Good morning, everyone. Children are vital to our future success, and every child has the right to be safe, healthy, and happy. All children deserve to receive love, nurturing, and care, and to live in communities that foster their healthy growth and development. This month, recognized as Child Abuse Prevention Month, the Board commends Hibiscus Children's Center for their work in providing a safe haven and services to children and families in our community. And here to accept, we have Ray Navarro with the Hibiscus Children's Center. He's the Chief Operating Officer.
Good morning. And thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to be part of your meeting today to acknowledge Child Abuse Prevention Month. We appreciate your hospitality. I am Ray Navarro, Chief Operating Officer for Hibiscus Children's Center. Hibiscus Children's Center is a residential child welfare agency operating here in Martin County and the Treasure Coast since 1985. All of us in our society want to desperately end child abuse and neglect. But while working on that, kids have to be taken care of. That's where Hibiscus comes in. If a child is removed from his or her home due to allegations of abuse or neglect, and representatives of the Department of Children and Families cannot persuade family and friends to take the children, they call Hibiscus. Hibiscus is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We never close. We are there for the children if they need us. The agency operates 2 residential campuses on the Treasure Coast. One in Vero, Hibiscus Village, who accepts children ages 13 to 17. Hibiscus Shelter in Jensen Beach accepts children and infants up to age 12. Even though there is an age demarcation, we make every effort to keep siblings together. Once on campus, a child may stay with us several weeks, months, or even years sometimes. Our staff are surrogate parents to more than 50 children every day. Our primary job is to the kids' safety. That is the first priority. We also help kids imagine what a better life can be. Hibiscus employees have a tremendous responsibility every day, and they do a great job. I mentioned earlier, Hibiscus is a child welfare agency, but it's much more than that. Hibiscus also provides mental health services. We have a corps of very talented master-level therapists on site at both campuses, in addition to providing outpatient mental health counseling, who are supervised by a licensed mental health counselor. Last year, Hibiscus served more than 800 children and families on the Treasure Coast and Okeechobee County. Hibiscus provides several programs to try and prevent children from entering the child welfare system, such as supporting families in crisis, parents as teachers, and Safe Care program. Again, thank you very much, Commissioners, for allowing our agency to be part of your meeting. Thank you.
From the old days with the camera.
My phone is better than our camera. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Our next proclamation is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
April is recognized as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and this observance calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is a widespread health problem, public health problem. At every level, we must work to provide necessary resources to survivors of sexual assault without judgment and with dignity, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation and housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. And unfortunately, our representative for the Inner Truth Project was not able to be here today to accept, so we will make sure we get that mailed to them.
Thank you very much. Our last proclamation this morning is Alcohol Awareness Month.
Alcohol abuse is a major public health concern that affects millions of Americans of all ages, races, and ethnic backgrounds in all communities, which also has a huge medical, societal, and economic cost. In recognition of April 2023 as Alcohol Awareness Month, the board encourages all citizens to join in efforts to diminish alcohol and substance abuse within the youth population of the Treasure Coast. They also commend the Martin County Community Action Coalition for taking a leading role and the volunteers who provide valuable assistance in these efforts. And here to accept, we have Don Davis, who's with our Human Services Division on behalf of the Martin County Community Action Coalition.
Good morning. How are you all?
Morning.
Hopefully everyone hear me okay. My name is Donald Davis. I am the program coordinator for Martin County Community Action Coalition. I know that's a mouthful, but hopefully you all can bear with me. I stand here today proud to say thank you for your continued support in supporting this proclamation. During Alcohol Awareness Month, we recognize the damaging effects of alcohol and alcoholism and renew our support for any individual battling to overcome addiction. So there is help for today. There's help for tomorrow, urging all Americans to promote treatment and recovery, supporting all those who have lives have been affected. So I really appreciate you all's support, and thank you very much for this proclamation.
She left before I could say thank you to Ms. Beaupre. We have no additional items, so I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as it's been presented.
Approval.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith to accept the agenda as presented, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Okay, we'll take public comment now. At this point, I have two. If anyone else would like to address us, you have to fill out one of these forms with the bailiff, and then so now we have three. Our first request to speak form is Mr. Tom Pine. Mr. Pine, good morning.
Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Tom Pine. I live in the Jensen Beach area. I've been a resident of Martin County for 50 years. On March 22nd of 2023, I attended the annual meeting of the Hutchinson Island Preservation Initiative, where I was presently surprised that the Florida Department of Transportation had canceled a proposed second circle just south of the circle on the Jensen Beach Causeway, about 3/10 of a mile south. Several months earlier, I attended a presentation by members of the FDOT regarding the circle, and the public was in attendance, including those that attended online, seemed to be all against the project. The rumor at the meeting was that Martin County was the ones pushing the project, so it was quite a victory. Instead of the second circle, FDOT will be adding more signage and some improved lighting in the area. The exact same situation happened on Savannah Road not too long ago, where two circles about 3/10 of a mile apart, where many residents of the Jensen Park Estate objected to the circle because of the problems it creates towing their boats. The concerns were rejected, so it was nice to see the state agency show some respect to the taxpayers of Martin County. The situation surrounding the rural lifestyle after the court ruling gives our Martin County commissioners a second chance to do the right thing. If they don't have the courage to stand up to for the taxpayers of Martin County over the desires of the mega wealthy and the Martin County Chamber of Commerce, then put the issue up to a vote by we the taxpayers. Let us decide our fate instead of the usual way of letting big money boys buy whatever they want. Once again, hidden in the consent agendas, the slush fund, $20,249,087.51 in expenditures between March 7th and March 20 and 20 of 2023, without identifying the payees or the purpose of the payments. The consent agenda was usually used to hide untold thousands of dollars in cost overruns for the county golf course. This is not how democracy works. These are the first steps towards communism. The consent agenda is becoming more and more of a backdoor of approving projects that our county commissioners don't want the taxpayers to know about. Democracy dies in darkness. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pine. Our next request to speak form is Diane Meyer. Good morning, ma'am, and welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Diane Meyer, and I have just a few questions in reference to the Public Works resolution and buying the Palmar or the Palm Beach Heights property. I appreciate your appeasement of the Palmar property parcels that you are buying, but I have a few questions that I haven't been able to get answered. How many code enforcement officers does the county have? I'm curious why the Sheriff's Department will not publicize or make mention of the death that took place 2 weeks ago in Palmar prior to the 800-acre fire in that vicinity. And speaking of the 800-acre fire, why was a commercial propane company allowed to install underground propane tanks in this area? Another question is, why is electricity allowed in the area where no structures are permitted? Why are structures allowed to be built in this area when no permits are granted, encroaching on the county or our taxpayer properties? And since there is now a circular 1-acre speedway for motorized all-terrain vehicles in these Palmar wetlands, what's being done to stop this and to also stop the daily shooting that's taking place there? Citizens that are close by this Palmar would really like some answers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, very much. Our last request to speak for him is Mr. Craig Seeger. Sager? Seeger. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name's Craig Seeger. I'm at 511 South River Drive in Stewart. I just came to say hello. I've placed my application for employment with the county, and I just wanted to come and say hi.
Fantastic.
Oh, I hope to be working with you folks soon.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Thanks for
Some of the people that make those decisions are sitting up here, so
All right.
now we can put a name with a face.
Good. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else that would like to address us before we move on to commissioner comments? We will start this morning with Commissioner Hurd.
I'm set.
Commissioner Jenkins. I'm set. Commissioner Heatherington.
Oh, I just would like to recognize probably a major loss in our community, and maybe you can elaborate if I don't get through this. You do a much better job at it. But Charlene Owens, who had a very short but valiant battle with cancer, passed away last week at age 50. She was a huge community advocate for veterans and the Hope Center for Autism. She leaves behind her husband and 2 grown sons and lots of family in Hope Sound. She was really a tremendous advocate for many, many organizations. Like I said, Operation 300, Honor Flight. I can't even tell you how many honor flights she probably went on, and D-Day and some others. So I just wanted to send my prayers and our condolences to her family, and she will be missed in our community.
That was beautiful. Commissioner Smith.
Yep, thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. The interesting thing about our friend Charlene is that she decided, with her family's blessing, to make her battle public. And I think for us that knew her as a friend, but also for people, thousands of people that were following her odyssey on social media, it was really a very raw look at the process. And, you know, she was with everybody very valiant in the beginning and fighting. You know, she turned 50 recently and has, you know, a young family. And so she fought and fought and fought and fought. But, you know, all of us that followed along, you'd realize that it was just a battle that was just too big to fight. You know, it had spread rapidly and all over. But she, you know, with such grace, and the family, the whole Hobe Sound community, she was, you know, from Hobe Sound, and then they had something that, you know, everyone talks about. Well, you know, if you ever go to a funeral, a memorial service, and it's really beautiful, everyone seems to say, well, wouldn't it have been nice if everybody could have gotten together while the person was still alive so they knew how much that they were loved? And I've never actually taken part in one where the person that was being celebrated's life was there. It was 3.5 hours long, but it felt like 30 minutes, and it was so beautifully planned. And then at the end, her son, her husband, and then Charlene herself got up in really very close to death at that point and spoke beautifully to the people. So it's, for us that knew her and loved her, it was just an unbelievable example of the strength that she had. And for our community, what a terrible loss, because when Stacy says that she was involved in Operation 300 and Honor Flight and the Hope Center for Autism, her youngest son has autism, she did hundreds and hundreds of hours for each of those organizations. Not like she stopped by. She was literally the face for these groups. And so it's a terrible loss for our community. It's another example that cancer is a scourge, and it seems to take just the most wonderful people way too early. So I agree with Commissioner Heatherington that our community is suffering a loss of a remarkable person. And so with that, we will move on with our meeting. But I'm glad that you mentioned it and that we could honor her. We have, next is board and committee appointments. It'll be presented by Ms. Donna Gordon. The Health Facilities Authority appointment is first. I gotta give you one of these.
Stop you for a change.
I have another one for you. And then my pen doesn't work anymore.
Health Facilities Authority, Donna Gordon for the record. Let's see. Don't have anyone doing this for me. Dr. Tina Louise White received 4 votes for Health Facilities Authority.
Move Dr. Tina Louise White for,
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins for Dr. Tina Louise White to be our representative or a representative on the Health Facilities Authority. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Our next item is B and C number 2, Library Board of Trustees appointments. Ms. Gordon.
Library Board of Trustees, I'm asking that you appoint 2 individuals because terms are expiring. I did a supplemental memo adding Mr. Nathaniel Osborne, and he received 4 votes. Ms. Paula Hunt received 3 votes, and Ms. Kelly Croy received 3 votes.
So basically, Mr. Osborne is selected, and so now we'd have to make a decision between Miss Kelly Croy and Miss Paula Hunt.
Correct.
Do you need to hand us our slips back?
That's how you want to do it.
I guess. That's a tricky one.
They always are.
Just want us to recircle one,
Yeah.
circle it really dark.
really? Check.
So now everybody's gonna change it back the other way.
I don't know. What is this? You didn't do anything. Are you just going to leave it alone?
Only 2 had to do something.
Yeah.
Ed.
What do I know? Who's the 2 that do something then?
That's why she passed them all back out.
I thought we all vote again. Who do we decide who doesn't do something then, or the 2 that do?
You know, we always get so many qualified applicants for all of the positions, but particularly for the Library Board of Trustees, I think we ought to just appoint everybody. We could try
I
it.
thought we added, didn't we take it from like 9 to 15 or something?
You increased it.
Anything bigger than that, it's hard to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're library appointees. They're going to be orderly. Be civil.
Maybe, I'm gonna keep the voices
Yeah.
down. Maybe they're not. For me, the tricky part is, obviously, Paula Hunt is a superstar in the community, and Kelly Croy is a Martin County High School graduate and a teacher at Martin County High School. She did what, she went to Martin County High School and then graduated then got a job teaching at Martin County High School. So those are 2 excellent choices. Not that the others were not, but those are the ones I struggled with.
You lobbying?
No, because I want them both.
Okay. Nobody changed their vote.
Harold did not vote. He just left it alone. I was assuming that somebody else would change their vote.
You wanted.
Did you change yours or no?
I circled one.
Stacy circled hers in a very dark way.
Right, but she'd already voted for that.
Well, I put the check mark next to my new. Oh, well, then just add Mr. Osborne to mine, and then the one, then I put the check mark.
I don't think that fixes it.
No?
No, that doesn't fix it.
Okay.
I'll fix it. I'll change mine to Miss Hunt.
Sure, I'll move if that is so, and that does 4 votes for Paula, is that right?
That would be correct.
I'd move Miss Paula Hunt and Mr. Nathaniel Osborne.
Second.
Thank you. Before the vote, I would strongly encourage Miss Kelly Croy to apply for something else.
Absolutely.
We love to have the young, born and raised perspective of our citizens participate. I'm very happy that she would, and I hope this would not discourage her from trying again. With that, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith to accept staff's recommendation as presented, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Donna. Ms. Gordon.
Maybe we ought to increase the pay scale or something.
Yeah. Our next item is Departmental Number 1, Office of Management and Budget items which require board approval. There will be 4 items, and they will be presented this morning by Ms. Jennifer Manning. Ms. Manning, good morning. You are
Hey,
recognized.
good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Manning, OMB Director. The first item is permission to accept the Resilient Florida Program Implementation Grant for Golden Gate Treatment Area North Outfall Flood Mitigation. The grant award is for $180,000. It requires a $195,000 match. Second item is also a Resilient Florida Program Implementation Grant, but this is for Old Palm City, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. It's for Old Palm City Stormwater Backflow Prevention Installation Program. This grant award is for $200,000. It requires a $306,000 match. The third item is a request from the Purchasing Division. They're requesting $25,000 from reserve to engage in a purchasing technician through contractual services through fiscal year '23. And this is because of an increase in workload. And they will be requesting a full-time equivalent position in FY '24, which will probably equate to about $69,000 all in. So that will be an impact to our budget, or ad valorem. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Manning?
Okay.
Seeing none, back to the board.
No, the final, no, I have one more item, the final item.
Why'd you ask
No,
any
I just, on this item, just want to make sure.
Trick me.
Okay, the final item is a request from Solid Waste Reserve of $600,000 for the Justin Industry settlement, and that was approved by the board earlier. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions for Ms. Manning?
Move approval.
Seeing none, back to the board.
Second.
Wow, we've got a lot of action.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Commissioner Smith to accept staff's presentation as presented, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is Departmental Number 2, contracts that meet the threshold for board approval, 1 million or greater. There are 2 items, and they'll be presented by Ms. Christy Brotherton, and we will hear the items individually.
Correct. Good morning. Christy Brotherton, Chief Procurement Officer. I have 2 items for your consideration. We are going to do these separately. Commissioner Heatherington needs
He's
to.
going to make a little,
Mr. Chair, would you like me to do that now?
yes, please.
Item A1, I will be abstaining from. Ferrera is an employer of mine, and although they were not the successful bidder in an abundance of caution, I will be abstaining, and I have filed my Form 8B with the clerk. So, thank you.
Thank you. Paperwork's filed, and we're ready to go.
Ready to go. Okay, so item 1, traffic signal and streetlight installation, repair, and maintenance contract. This is a continuing services contract with a maximum not to exceed value of $2 million with a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. Staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the two lowest responsive and responsible bidders, which is Carr Construction and Traffic Control Devices, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Hurd to accept staff's recommendation as presented, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries 4-0 with Commissioner Heatherington abstaining.
The next item is a continuing services contract for arterial mowing rebid. The contract has a maximum not to exceed value of $1 million with a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. And staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is Kerner Environmental, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request. And that concludes this item.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith this time to accept staff's recommendations as presented, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? That carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Brotherton, thank you very much. Our next item is Departmental Number 3, the 2023 Legislative Program Update presented by Ms. Sarah Powers, an old veteran now. Let's have a report from the Twilight Zone.
Good morning, everybody.
Into the mic.
Is it on? Can you hear me?
Yes, just speak louder. That mic seems to be a little quiet this morning.
So we are in, there we go, week 5 of session, one more day till halfway. It's been going good. On the 22nd, Jen Salas from the library board was up in Tallahassee, from the library was up in Tallahassee, telling everybody about all the great things the libraries are doing. I learned a lot from those presentations. We had a meeting with Rep. Overdorf and Rep. Snyder. They were both very excited to hear about all the cool things that the library is doing. So those were some fun things. And now into some bills that we're watching that are not as fun. So last week, they dropped a bill to basically defund Visit Florida and change a bunch of things with that. So we are not supporting that. It's against home rule. There's currently the bed tax and distribution funding allocations are governed locally by Martin County. They're trying to take that away, and basically the funds that we receive and all the taxes that we accrue would be essentially funding smaller rural counties. It defines rural county, and we're not allowed to get, it prohibits any state appropriations to Visit Florida. So that's a very bad bill that we are opposing. And Narissa has been following that. So if you have any specific questions about taxes, she's probably the expert on the expert.
Sure, can I just add to that a little bit?
Absolutely.
So, Sarah, as I understand it, 5% of our tourism collected tax here in Martin County would go back to Visit Florida. That generates, Narissa shared with me, I think, somewhere around $57 million, not from Martin County, but statewide, that would be going towards rural Florida. And at least as of last week, there wasn't a Senate companion bill. There was just yet the House bill.
And that's still,
that's still-
as today, yeah.
Okay.
And the Senate has funded Visit Florida in their budget. The House has not. But from what we understand, especially with FAC, they are saying that the House has, the Senate has no intention on making a companion. They're going to fund Visit Florida and want to keep everything the same.
The governor has $100 million in his budget for
In his budget.
Visit Florida.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Our next fund bill is Senate Bill 1110 specifically. It does have a House companion, but 1110 includes term limits for county commissioners. It sets the limit at 8 years. That would be effective if it becomes law, those that were elected on or after November 8th, 2022. So like you said, the House version was for school boards. It's already passed the House, but it did not include county commissioners. The Senate bill is going to be heard tomorrow morning, so we'll know a little bit more kind of how that's going to progress. It's fairly new, like I said, with the county commissioners. So once that's heard tomorrow, I'll have more of an update on that one. And then this is the 540 that Commissioner Hurd, you had asked about last week. It authorizes the courts to assess and award reasonable attorney fees, costs, and damages in certain civil actions filed against local governments. It does cap that amount at $50,000. And if there's any additional information on that, it is moving, and there's two bills that are pretty much identical. Both have House and Senate companions are moving in the legislature. So that is on that. The budgets came out, so we did get some of our appropriations put in there. So we have line items for the South County Line Bridge construction, the Fire Rescue Public Safety Training Tower, and it does say that the East Fork Creek was not funded this year, and we're applying for other grants. We found out last night that we did get that fully funded through DEP. So total 3 of our appropriations have been fully funded through grants. So that's positive. And then we have those 2 line items in the Senate budget to be funded. Some additional budget items. The House budget is $113 billion. The Senate budget is $113.7 billion, so they're just a little off. Both budgets include a raise for state employees, provide more money for infrastructure and land acquisition, increase state dollars for Florida Kid Care, and fully fund Florida's Medicaid program. The House budget recommends designating $1.26 billion towards water resource and restoration for the Everglades, a little more than the Senate's version. The House also provides $200 million for wastewater grants, double the amount suggested in the Senate proposal, $35 million for mitigating harmful algae blooms, and the House has also suggested spending $251.1 million to acquire land for the wildlife corridor, and the Senate proposed $280 million. So those will be going to conference soon, and we'll have more of an update probably at the next meeting where we are, especially with our appropriations and all the other state grants that we get through that. Any questions?
Great.
I have a couple.
Okay.
I know that when you were mentioning about Visit Florida's on the chopping block or to be sort of dismantled and reassembled, I also know that Enterprise Florida is also on the chopping block. It's a relatively small budget item of $12 million annually. A lot of people are not familiar with Enterprise Florida, but it is the arm of the state government that works on economic development, specifically helping Florida businesses do exporting and bring Florida manufactured products, smaller companies, by the way, overseas to different countries. And secondly, it also promotes international businesses and investors to bring their businesses or investments to Florida. And I know that it had been on the chopping block several years ago, and thankfully that it was not. I think it's worked its way through the House, but I don't think that there's a Senate companion bill. For full transparency, the small company that I work for, do not own but work for, we have taken advantage many times of the opportunities that Enterprise Florida presents that for small Florida companies would never be able to. They are the sharpest group of professionals you could ever run into. And they also, one of the few states, Florida is one of the few states that has sort of local offices or local representatives, if you will, set up throughout the world that have had a remarkable track record on success. Just recently, I've returned from a trip that had about 15 different small companies that made suspension for boat seats, made outboard motors, did chemicals and wastewater treatment for environmentals, that could take that technology and those products that are manufactured in Florida and bring them all over the world. And so I would be very interested if you would follow that for me. And I don't know how my colleagues feel about Enterprise Florida, but I know we're talking about economic development and investment. I would humbly request of my colleagues that I be allowed to send a letter in support from our commission for Enterprise Florida. $12 million of a over $100 billion budget, I think, is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, in my opinion. Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you. If whoever would craft that letter, I'd be honored to sign it. Thank you very much, Ms. Powers. Commissioner Hurd.
Yes, the wastewater grant program, how many applications do we have in for appropriations for this? Old Palm City?
Yeah, oh, yes,
What
yes,
else?
yes. Old Palm City, what was the other one? I didn't write them down.
John Mayall Ecosystems Division. So we had two, Old Palm City and Coral Gardens, but both of those were funded through grants right at the beginning of session, and so we withdrew those from member project requests. So with this next budget cycle, we'll queue up whatever the next priorities are, work with utilities to get those grants submitted.
Just making sure that we have grant applications in, if there's money available.
Absolutely.
Also, Blue-Green Algae Task Force, the House and Senate are not reconciled. Do we have any applications in for that funding?
We do not. That tends to be more towards the universities, and the South Florida Water Management District has been a principal participant in that as well for treatment, and we've been happy to let them take the lead on treatment with innovative tech on that.
Indian River Lagoon water quality projects, there's somewhere between 25 million and 100 million. What kind of projects do we have teed up for those?
So that's a new program that the governor requested in his executive order 2301, and he asked for 100 million. We think it'll probably land somewhere close to that. The details of that have not been fleshed out. So last time around, when there was something similar to that, it was handed off to the St. Johns River Water Management District, and then we had to ask to have the South Florida participate for St. Lucie County and Martin County's portion. And it turned into a lot of septic to sewer, but this will be it's a new funding line item, and so they'll have to establish the parameters, and we'll be paying close attention to see where we can participate.
Okay, so this is separate from SERP? So this
Yes.
is separate from IRL South? Thank you.
Mr. Donaldson.
I was just weighing in on the prior conversation, in that we have been supporting some of these larger initiatives like the Indian River Lagoon or the Septic to Sewer program, where we compete for grants with the agencies as opposed to line item appropriations through our representative. We compete very well in that arena, and so that, and much like our beach program, we also support the governor's budget and the DEP's budget for that. And again, we get our funding through a grant cycle where we do quite well in that arena. So we tend to, I think we're moving away from these individual appropriations for things like septic to sewer and competing for these larger programs, provided the legislature keeps funding them annually as a programmatic unit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Powers, Mr. Mayall? Seeing none? Thank you very much for your update. Safe travels.
I'm not traveling this week.
Well, when you do. Our next agenda item is departmental number 5, adoption of a resolution approving and accepting 3 separate special warranty deeds for the acquisition of 18 vacant lots totaling 20.26 acres in Palm Beach Heights for conservation purposes. It'll be presented by Ms. Carla Segura. Ms. Segura, good morning. You are recognized.
Good morning. Carla Segura, Real Property Manager. I'm here today for a request for adoption of a resolution approving and accepting 3 separate warranty deeds for 18 vacant lots in Palm Beach Heights, which is also known as the Palmore area, totaling approximately 20.25 acres. This will be for conservation purposes. The property owner contacted staff, and through negotiations, a price of $7,500 per acre was agreed upon for the large area. The parcels are located throughout Palmar, and there is no open road access. We ask that the board adopt the resolution approving and accepting the 3 special warranty deeds. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you very much for that. You moved your microphone.
Well, move to approve, well, because it was standing up.
Oh, I thought you were.
Second.
I was waiting for our Palmar person.
Is there anyone from the public looking to address us on this topic? We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, was the first one to make that motion. And it was seconded by Commissioner Hurd.
Cut me right out of that.
I'll save one for you. That was for the microphone, miscue. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Ms. Segura, thank you very much. Our next item is Departmental Number 6, Community Transportation Coordinator Transportation Disadvantage Program Update. It was supposed to be presented by Ms. Lucine Martins, but you don't look anything like her. So it will be now presented by Mr. Jim Gordon. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, Jim
Where's
Gordon.
Ms. Martins?
Public Works Director, so they are on their way over, and they're going to be about 20 minutes out. I can present the item now, or you can take the session for Department 4 and then hear it after,
Yeah, I
either way.
think if I was the coordinator and I was prepared to make a presentation and we were moving through our agenda quicker than anticipated, that's why they call me the benevolent chair. I will wait on that item so that they can make their own presentation. And so that being,
You have everybody else here yet?
what?
You have everybody else here yet?
Why don't we do this? Why don't, it's 9:48, we'll take our closed captioning break for 15 minutes and we'll come back at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are back from our mid-morning closed captioning break to continue our April 4th, 2023 Board of County Commissioners meeting. We're taking up agenda item departmental number 6, Community Transportation Coordinator and Transportation Disadvantage Program Update. It'll be presented by Ms. Lucine Martins, along with Ms. Beth Beltran and Jim Gordon.
Getting that look from her.
I understand, but I want to recognize the 3 members of the team so that they can present.
Okay, thank you. And my sincere apologies that the representatives from Senior Resource Association are running late and they could not be here. But I will give the presentation that they had planned to give, and there's actually good news, so that's a good thing. Like I said, the Senior Resource Association was planning to be here. They're the Martin County's Community Transportation Coordinator. They operate the Transportation Disadvantage Program in Martin County, and they have had a very successful year. They have had some great numbers, and and we're hoping to continue this into fiscal year '24. The Senior Resource Association, or SRA, actually the Council on Aging up in Indian River County. They run the TD service up there, as well as they operate the public transportation up there. And if you have heard about their transportation system up there for public transportation, it's phenomenal. I think they had 1.2 million riders last year, so they are very successful in what they do. The Martin County is just, they're shown on here on this map, and this is showing the current award we have for what's called the ISD grant, the Innovative Service Development Grant that Martin got this year. And we applied for the grant, and the MPO and the SRA applied for this grant. The maximum we could get was $750,000. The state awarded Martin County $750,000. And because of that, the TD riders, and when I say TD, that's transportation disadvantaged. Those folks are not able to transport themselves where they need to go as far as doctor's appointments or the grocery store or any kind of living trips. They cannot provide the trips themselves, either due to their age or to their disability or to their income. Just to kind of give you an overview of the kind of trips they've been providing, they provide dialysis trips. They also provide medical trips that are not dialysis. They have very strict rules in place to be able to make the program as efficient as they can. If they can multi-ride trips or multi-trip people from Indiantown, say, to the dialysis center in the urban area, they do that to be able to save funds. And they have also, so they get 2 grants. They get the ISD grant, which is the Innovative Service Development Grant, and that's a discretionary grant that they compete with the other counties for. But they also get a formula funding grant, which is called the Trip and Equipment Grant, or T&E grant. And the formula funding is based on several factors, but one of them being local match, or local support of the system. Historically, Martin County has always provided the minimum 10% match for the T&E grant, and unfortunately, that's a lot of times why our Trip and Equipment Grant doesn't go up higher or isn't raised that much from year to year. That's why it was so important last year when we got this ISD grant, because historically, we've had to limit the TD rides. When someone calls to get a TD ride, if they've already reached their maximum limit that week, they're not going to be able to get a ride to the grocery store. You know, if they had their 3 medical appointments or 3 physical therapy appointments, they can't get their next trip until the following week. So that's why it was so just awesome that we got the ISD grant last year. And this year, we thought that the governor did support a drop in the ISD funds to $500,000, but the House and Senate wanted to keep it at the maximum to $750,000, and there's a good chance that Martin may get that again, and that's the good news. So anyway, SRA has done a great job this year with those extra funds. You can tell that they've did a lot of marketing. They got new letterhead. They put together a brochure, an informational flyer. They've made a point to partnership with the Cleveland Clinic North, Martin County Hospital. They have social media postings, and they have really done some great outreach as well as Lucene in this area to get the word out that this year, because of the ISD grant, we didn't have any limit on trips, that if you called and you went and had your 3 dialysis appointments and then needed to go to the grocery store and needed to go to physical therapy, you could get all those trips in 1 week, whereas before it was limited to 3 round trips in 1 week. This is just some of the rules that they were going to kind of go over operationally of how they put together their system. You can go ahead and skip that one. This is an important slide because you can tell with the fiscal year 18-19, the Martin County just got their formula grant, and you can tell we only were able to provide 7,090 trips with those grant. And the way the grant works, because we use the maximum amount of dollars every year. Somewhere like Indian River that has a lot of public transit routes, if the ride is over 3/4 of a mile from the public transit route, then you're eligible for a transportation disadvantage route. But because we have limited public transit routes, the need is really there. We have a lot of people that don't live along a transit route, so they can, if they're eligible for these kind of rides, they can fill out an application and have their eligibility approved. But what's important about this screen, you can see how there was a limited amount of rides during previous years, but this year, because we got that Innovative Service Development or ISD grant, the rides jumped from considerably, and they're expected to do about 25,000 by June 30th, which is the end of their fiscal year. This is just kind of reiterating what I had just said, that because of the additional funding, so the rides have not been limited for the TD eligible folks, and so they don't have to prioritize their medical appointments over their grocery shopping or their employment. This is actually, can you, Donna, do the webcam? This is kind of outdated based on what we've been hearing from Tallahassee, and I apologize for my scribbles. So the trip and equipment grant actually was raised from $300,000 to $330,000. The local match would be $33,000 for that, 10%. And because the House and the Senate, it looks like they're going to approve the $750,000 for the state budget, the 10% for that would be $75,000. Can you kind of point? That's my math at the top of the page. It doesn't work. Okay. There. Okay. And so that would be $108,000. Now we are asking for an additional $75,000, which would be another 10% of that match, and because that would help us considerably in getting this $330,000 number increase next year, because we don't know how long the ISD grant's going to last. I mean, it's been, we had a small amount about, I guess, 3 years ago, and then there was a year the program wasn't funded by the state, and so that's why we had to set the limit of 3 round trips a week, and then that was it. But then last year, they refunded the program, the state refunded the program, and then this year they've decided to refund the program, so we never know. So with that additional $75,000, then that would be factored into the formula for next year. So this would increase. So if we don't get the ISD grant, we won't hopefully have to limit people's rides next year that are in the program, or the following year. I'm sorry, that are in the program. Did you want to add something?
Just that SRA had an exemplar presentation that they presented, I think, toward the CTD and the governor's office to show how they applied for this grant. They got the maximum they could last year, and we're hoping that they'll get it this year. It was reduced to $500K, but hoping that they change their mind and maximize it. It's per zone or county or area. Sometimes they combine, like they'll combine St. Lucie with Martin County, but they did such a great job in their application. They're setting the bar for all the other counties and how they presented for their ISD grant. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that they'll get the maximum again this year, because without it, we're going to have to tell people that's us telling them that they can't have a trip where they need to go to next year.
Yes, thank you. State your name for the record, please.
My name's Lucine Martins.
Yes, it is. Commissioner Smith has a comment.
Thank you. So I think you said it, and I think it's clear, but 750 was the maximum
Yes.
that we could go for? And our match to get to that 750 is?
The 750 includes the 10% local match, so it includes that 75,000.
Okay, so 75 is the total to the 750.
Correct.
Right. That's a super return. Fantastic.
Yeah, as Lucy mentioned, when they made that presentation to the governor's office, they did get a lot of good compliments, and they said this was the exact reason why we put the ISD grant, why we funded it, to do the programs like this. And like I said, it really helps the dialysis patients in this county be able to make their 3 trips a week that they need to go to the dialysis center for.
Thank you. Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, these aren't Marty fixed routes.
No.
What vehicles are used?
Those are vehicles that the Senior Resource Association uses for their program, and they actually, I believe, got a 5310 grant from the state to buy those vehicles for that. And I think they contract with providers in this county.
They're vendors, yeah.
The vendors that actually
They're
provide
known
these
as Martin Community Coach. That's the name.
But
So what kind of vehicles are they?
They're cutaway buses. They're small vehicles.
Oh, okay.
I've got one on the screen for you right now.
Thanks.
And what's also nice is they provide service to these riders on Saturdays. They also provide a great trip back and forth from Indiantown to, like, if people have to go to Walmart on Saturdays to shop.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, I think that we're seeing the rewards of when they were here to present, asking us to increase our match, because when they showed us an example of what everybody else, Indian River is like 600%, as I'm ballparking, of what was required, and we had always given the 10, and then we had agreed to do more, and I think it shows the folks in Tallahassee that are deciding where the money goes, that, who's genuinely looking for the money. If locally, all we're doing is the legal minimum versus increasing our match, I think that's why we're seeing this. Mr. Donaldson.
Yes, just want to let you know that the request last year was approximately $160,000, which we're including in next year's budget, plus a slight increase to 183 that would cover the request that was presented today. So that will be in the budget request, subject to your approval, which you'll see in July. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Indian River, on this chart, it might be difficult to see on television, but Indian River gives 642% over the minimum 10% match. Martin and Lee County were the only two. This is an older, because we have now done better, correct?
Yes.
This is what we were looking at originally, and now we are at a new percentage.
Well, we're not at a new percentage. The trips are a lot more because we got another grant. We're still at the 0% because we just give the minimum 10%.
6 months ago, didn't we agree?
So Jim Gorton, Public Works Director, so 6 months ago, what we agreed to do was the 10% match for the 750, so we
That's all we
added
did.
75. So in this year's budget is and what you asked us to do is come back, demonstrate that we could increase the ridership. So this presentation, that's what we intended to do, is to show you that with more money, we can do more trips. And that's why in next year's budget, we're going to ask for that 10% overmatch so we can start moving up the list a little bit and increase our potential funding in the future.
I do have a recollection of how that agenda item went. I did not do as well as I had anticipated. Well, I appreciate it. The numbers are there, so hopefully when you guys come back looking, that rides speak for themselves. I think what most people need to realize is, and Ms. Martins, you had mentioned, these are not trips to the beach and the mall. These are trips for people to have medical treatments and then go and buy groceries. I mean, for anyone that has transportation, either relatives or friends that can transport them or have their own vehicle, you don't even think about that. So I'm happy that it's working. Anything else for our colleagues? Seeing none? This is just an informational report, correct? Are you looking for any actions?
Correct. Nope, just information only.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Tell our friends that missed us today that we appreciate their efforts. Okay, we're getting down to, that's the last of our official agenda items except for departmental number 4, which is an executive session pursuant to Florida Statute Section 447-.605 for the IAFF collective bargaining labor negotiations. It'll be presented by Matt Graham. Do you have to read like a little blurb, Ms. Woods, on this? This is not one of those?
I can make a
Donaldson?
brief statement.
Yes, please make a brief statement.
So Martin County is currently in the process of collective bargaining negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters. The current collective bargaining agreement with the IAFF expires September 30, 2023. The Board of County Commissioners has a limited exemption under Florida statutes 447.605, which allows the board to meet in an executive session to discuss collective bargaining issues. Upon conclusion of our collective bargaining, which, may take several weeks or months before concluded, of course, the contract, whatever is concluded upon, will become a public record upon presentation for approval by the board. Thank you.
How long do you expect this session to last?
I would expect it to last between 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay, and then, so we have to then come, we can't end the meeting now.
That's correct. We would.
So we will go for our session, and when we come back, I'm sure everyone will be just sitting by their televisions, waiting for us to come back.
Yes.
And then we will close the meeting at that time. We will also take end of the day or 5:05 public comment then, and any commissioner comments at that point. So we will adjourn,
No.
not adjourn, we will
Go into.
recess to our session, and we shall return. Okay, we are back. It is still April 4th, 2023. We are returning from our executive session pursuant to Florida Statute Section 447.605 for the IAFF collective bargaining and labor negotiations. We have also reached the end of our official agenda, so I will take the end of the day public comment if anyone is looking to address us on a topic. Seeing none, I would come back to the board, and we'll start with you, Commissioner Smith. Any end-of-the-day comments? Commissioner Heatherington?
All set, thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Actually do. In Hope Sound, South County, we've now added 2 additional Marty bus stops in the Hope Sound area. I paid for that out of my district funds. 2 very challenged areas of Hope Sound. With the southbound stop is in front of Lakeside Mobile Home Village and the Hope Sound Mobile Home Park. Northbound is in front of the Hope Sound Village Mobile Home Park. These are challenged communities that are desperate for some transportation, and if we want to increase our Marty ridership, it probably would be good to actually put our stops within walking distance of people that actually need it. This effort was driven by Ms. Gilday as part of the Hope Sound Community Chest. So on Friday the 15th, we are going to have a tent out at those stops to encourage for awareness of the actual stops exist and to train folks on how to use the system and how to use the app. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Hurd?
I'm set.
I had just a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to thank and compliment our Parks and Rec Department for a complete rehabilitation of the Palm City Community Center, which is located on Martin Downs Boulevard at the base of the Palm City Bridge. On April 17th at 4 p.m., we're having a ribbon cutting. That community center, like many of the other refurbished community centers in the county, will offer event space and meeting space. We also have the benefit of having a soccer field or a green open space there, and it's right on the shores of the St. Lucie River. It's also where the home of the Treasure Coast Rowing Club is, and so please come out on the 17th at 4 to join us for some refreshments and a ribbon cutting. See the facility. It's great it's available for, small-scale public rentals or for not-for-profit meeting space. Commissioner Jenkins.
So I have a correction that was just texted, and when I read Friday, I was going, I don't think so. It's Saturday the 15th at 11:30 in front of the Hope Sound Mobile Home Park.
Thank you. Mr. Donaldson. Ms. Woods. Thank you. Our next meeting is April 18th, so before we meet again, I would like to wish everyone a happy Easter and a happy Passover. And we will see you on the 18th.